Good morning, doctors, and welcome to the basic course in ultrasound for surgeons. I'm here to talk about the basic optimization controls in brightness mode, and these are the controls you'll need to adjust when scanning in B mode. Before I proceed, I would like to thank the organizers and Batangas Medical Center for inviting me to speak in the seminar. Now, you are now familiar with the ultrasound machine, or to some who may not have seen the ultrasound machine, you have three main parts. This is a sample of a portable ultrasound machine. So this is the main unit where it houses the most of the electronic parts. And then, of course, the control panel, where you will find the buttons, some of the controls that we are going to discuss today. And of course, the transducer, which is the main, shall we say, which is the heart of the equipment, because the transducer holds the secret to the image quality. The image quality of ultrasound is highly dependent, of course, on the user and technically the design of the transducer. Now, speaking of image quality, we know that all imaging modalities is concerned with resolution. In ultrasound, image resolution is classified in three areas. First is spatial resolution. This is something to do with resolution with regard to space. Contrast resolution is the ability to distinguish changes in tissue signatures. And of course, temporal resolution has something to do with the frame rate or the speed at which images are captured. So we will discuss some of the controls. Here are the list. Here is the list of the controls, basic controls. You have the frequency control, focus, dynamic range, depth, gain, and zoom. And as you can see here is the description of the parameters that they control. Okay. Oops. The first control we'll talk about is the frequency setting or the frequency control. Now, depending on the type of machine, this may be found on the control panel or on the screen if we're using a touch screen unit. Now, from physics, we know here, as the frequency increases, the wavelength becomes shorter. So this is the important parameter. Because the shorter the wavelength, you see here, at the 10 megahertz, you have a 0.1 millimeter wavelength. That is the size of the object that can be resolved or can be distinguished by the ultrasound machine, which means that the higher frequencies will give you better axial resolution. All right. So axial resolution has something to do with being able to distinguish objects that are close together at the same axis or one on top of the other. I'll show an illustration later. In the ultrasound machine, the frequency may be displayed in numerics, like for example here, 3.5 megahertz, 5 megahertz, 7, 10 megahertz. In some machines, it is displayed as a description. No? Merong descriptive name. Here. So here, the frequency is set as resolution, so high resolution. So more Most probably it is within the range of 7.5 to 10 megahertz and higher. Now others would display penetration. So penetration from physics refers to lower frequencies for deeper penetration. And so that would be in the range of 5, 3.5, 2.5 megahertz. Now, the frequencies I'm talking about is not fixed. It is dependent on the design of the machine. If the machine is using a multiple frequency transducer with a very wide range of frequencies, then the range for resolution, penetration, or general range or general frequencies will be different. So in this case, you'll have to consult the user manual. But most machines would use numbers. So it's easier to see which frequency the machine is set. Right? Next slide. My delay. All right. Now, another control is the focal position or the focus control. Now, in this case, you are talking of lateral resolution. So frequency has something to do with axial resolution, and focus has something to do with lateral resolution. So then let's take a look at the image on the left here. Now this is the geometric shape of the beam or the ultrasound beam. And this area here on top, okay, represents the size of one element. Of course, this is not the exact representation of it. This is enlarged. So one element would be, for example, would have a width of this size. No? As sound is transmitted from the transducer, it goes down to a narrower path. Now, this is the narrowest part of the beam here. And this is called the focus or focal point. This is where you get the best lateral resolution. Now, after the beam, after the focus, the beam starts to diverge, thereby losing focus. Okay. So here, the focal point is the narrowest part of the beam. This is where you get the best lateral resolution. And this is also where okay, this is represented by small triangles here in some machines. No? So they may be located at the left side or at the right side. Again, you have to consult with the supplier or the user manual, which is the focal indicator. So in this picture, you have 3 focal points. This means that lateral resolution is set in these areas, 3 areas. Okay. So the focal position can be selected. Some machines will have multiple focal points. Some will have one only. But the point is the focus may be adjusted. The position of the focus may be adjusted. It can be set to the near field or it can be set to the far field. In the next slide, I hope to show you a video. So here in this video, the focal points are represented here on the right side here. This is the focal position here. So okay, play the video. Okay. You can notice now the operator. The video stopped. Okay. You see, the operator here is now changing the position of the focus. Now the operator is changing the number of focal points. Now there are 4 focal points here. 1 focal point now. And by the focal position or the focus switch will depend. It can either be a knob or a push button switch. So depending on the brand or model of the machine, then you'll just have to locate them. So here the position is being changed, moved up and down. So this is just for demonstration purposes. The image quality, this is a thyroid scan, but this is not actually representative of, this is not really fit, this is just for demonstration purposes. So that's the focal position, okay? As we mentioned earlier, axial resolution and lateral resolution are components of spatial resolution. So here, just to demonstrate to you, this set of pins, pin group 1 here, will demonstrate axial resolution. That is the ability of the machine to distinguish objects here that are close together along the same axis. So as you can see, as the pins become closer, axial resolution will allow you to distinguish these 2 objects. This demonstrates axial resolution. Pin group 2 here demonstrates lateral resolution, or the ability to distinguish objects that are side by side, close to each other, but side by side. Take note here, this is the transducer, and the ultrasound beam is being transmitted in this direction. So axial resolution is the ability to distinguish objects along the axis, one on top of the other, while lateral resolution is the ability of the machine to distinguish objects that are side by side, close together side by side. Now, in the middle, at the center here, you can see a group of pins. Here, if you'll notice, okay, if you'll notice the pins here, as they go down, the pins become wider. It becomes wider. That is divergence. So I mentioned earlier that from the focal point here, as the ultrasound beam goes further away, the beam diverges. So the objects, which are originally supposed to be a simple dot like this one, will become elongated. So this is how you lose resolution along the focal line, no? And along the beam axis. No? That is how you lose the resolution. And this is the reason why we adjust the position of the focal point. So if our region of interest is in this area, the focal position should be adjusted somewhere here, so that these pins will not be elongated. They will appear like this one, like the origin, that they will look like the original size. They will be displayed in their original size. So here, this is elongated. And this is a common error. One error that can be said here, based on my experience, is the size of gallstones or even kidney stones. If the focus is not located properly, then you will have elongated stones. So when you measure it, it will become bigger. It will appear bigger on the screen. So, but when what I know from other surgeons is that the procedure will depend on the size of the stone. So they can either be bombarded by lithotripsy, or they can be dissolved by medication. So depending on the size of the stone. So if you have an error, if you make an error on the size of the stone just because of this resolution, then the management of the patient can be different. No? So next slide. Okay. The next control is dynamic range, and it has something to do with contrast resolution. And contrast resolution is the ability to visualize subtle changes in tissue signatures. Here we have two objects. And well, first, dynamic range allows you to select the number of gray levels that are displayed on the screen. That is what dynamic range does. No? So just a review. We all know that ultrasound machines have at least 256 gray levels. So in this illustration, here you have 8 gray levels. On the other side here, you have 16 gray levels. So most machines will have 256 gray levels, but it's very difficult to display that. So let's do with this. So look at these two illustrations. So if you increase the number of gray levels, then the image, you can already visualize, the image will become smoother. There are more gray images, gray areas to be displayed. If you have very few or very low gray levels, then you have fewer. If you have fewer gray levels, then the image will become coarser, or it will become more black and white. And that is the function of the dynamic range. For soft tissues, usually you will need higher gray level. So here, this is very subtle. No? On the left, you have a low dynamic range setting, so the image looks coarser. And this image on the right, you have a higher dynamic range, then the image looks more smooth. Now let's see if I can get another example. This is an example of a coarse image, but sometimes a coarse image is what you need to properly diagnose the patient. Some machines would have the dynamic range displayed here. So that's DR, that stands for dynamic range. So again, depending on the machine or the model of the machine, you can find that anywhere. So maybe the first thing you should do before operating an ultrasound machine is to identify the parts of the machine and locate the display of these settings. Now here again is a video of how the dynamic range setting is, how the dynamic range affects the image. So here is the dynamic range. Just a moment, it's here. This one. Notice that number. See that number. So here the operator is increasing the dynamic range. Usually it is in decibels. So as the dynamic range increases, the image becomes smoother. But it doesn't necessarily mean that very high dynamic range is appropriate. So you have to adjust it accordingly. Okay. So there you go. That's the dynamic range adjustment. The next control is the image depth control. So the machines were designed to transmit sound waves at a certain power range, no? And to cover a specific distance. Now, the depth, or to penetrate a specific distance, the depth range or depth control varies that depth at which echoes are displayed optimally. So again, here, we know that from physics, lower frequencies will give you deeper penetration, and higher frequencies will give you shallower penetration. So the depth range or depth control actually is limited by the frequency setting or the frequency range of the transducer. So even if the machine is capable of 25 centimeters depth, if you are using a high frequency transducer such as this one, then your penetration will be limited to 15 centimeters. Now, there is another term, field of view. Do not confuse this with the image depth. So image depth is from the surface of the skin up to certain setting. So here in this example, it's blurred, but in this example, this is 12 centimeters depth setting. The field of view is actually the width of the transducer. So the field of view, the actual size of the field of view does not change, but the depth setting will change depending on how you turn the knob to increase the depth or to reduce the depth. Now in this example, the depth setting is changed. As you'll notice, the field of view varies with the depth. Again, physically, the field of view does not change. This is the size of the transducer. While the depth in centimeters, usually it's in centimeters, it changes. Okay? So here you have the same image. On the left is a shallow setting and it goes deeper. Now I have another video here. So this is the depth setting. So notice on this lower right-hand corner, that is the depth. Now it is set at 4 centimeters, 3.5, 2.5 centimeters. No, it's 2 centimeters. Okay. 5 centimeters, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So maximum of 16 centimeters. Oops, sorry. So we have a maximum of centimeters. And if you'll take a look here, okay, you have a 12 megahertz transducer with a maximum of 16 centimeters penetration. Okay. Most machines will automatically limit the depth of penetration depending on the transducer design. So again, this is not this image is just for demonstration purposes. No, it has no clinical value. So why do we need to adjust the depth? We need to adjust the depth to cover the region of interest. So for example, when we're doing a breast scan and we want to visualize the zones, then we have to adjust the depth accordingly. For other scans, abdominal scans, if we are surveying or searching the area of the different organs, no? Liver, kidney, and we want to see the relationship. Usually you compare the characteristics of the tissue characteristics of the kidney with the liver. So we have to cover this area, so you adjust the depth accordingly. Now, a very deep setting is disadvantageous. Why? Because you are covering an area that is no longer significant to the diagnosis, and yet these areas are giving you echoes or signals which can distort or obstruct the actual region of interest. So you have to adjust the depth accordingly.